Oh my gosh. Hello everybody, and welcome to another patch notes video. It's been so long since we've had one, but here we go, 4:50 p.m. Eastern time. We finally got a patch notes drop, so let's get into it. Welcome to Early Access Season 2. This is our first seasonal reset, and how we always design Fellowship to be played. We see starting a new season with a fresh slate, a way to approach the challenge offered anew, experimenting with new heroes and engaging with the content that our team are working so hard to get in the hands of our community. We're resetting everyone's progression from Early Access Season 1. The leaders' boards will clear and everyone's loot will go. The only thing players will keep will be their cosmetics, their memories, and the friends they made along the way. 2 new heroes, Aona and Xavier, will join the Fellowship. Aona is a time-slowing healer who can help calm the chaotic nature of a battle by delaying incoming damage, making it more manageable and reducing the big swings of a dungeon. Xavier, a healer tank hybrid, protects the team with additional targeted healing, piggybacking on Aona's abilities, allowing him to read the flow of battle more clearly and offer decisive heals that can turn the tide of combat, all while leading from the front. Our new soloable area is ready for its first adventurers. The development of the Glade is intended to give new players a place to practice with new heroes, and for returning players a place to spend time while queuing for dungeons. This is known as the Woodland Glade. The intention was to make a space that can be played solo or with others, letting new players get used to supporting each other without explicitly requiring it or imposing a requirement on player roles. Since we want to see how this new mode is received as the starting point for new players, we've removed quick play to let this new mode breathe on its own for a while. We filled the space with NPCs, quests, and even a few events in rotation that will reward players with golds and supplies. You can access it through the Game Finder screen in the middle of the Stronghold, or through its own station, a cart full of Stronghold Rangers recruiting adventurers. Pathfinder's Guidance. We have added Pathfinder's Guidance, a new ascension that will highlight suggested packs to pull on your path through a dungeon. This is by no means the min-max path through any given dungeon, but will teach players the main ideas behind our core gameplay loop with the aim of better overall onboarding. Onboarding for the entire Fellowship community. Whenever players are in combat with enemies marked by Pathfinder's Guidance, they gain 20% haste. This bonus reduces with each league as you progress. Pathfinder's Guidance only exists in the league system, but will be removed once players want to focus on climbing the leaderboards and internal. Player blocking. To increase social safety, players can now block other players, preventing them from seeing their chat messages or receiving party or friend invites from anyone on their block list. Simply right-click a player to find the block option. The block list can be managed through a new tab in the Friends window. My playlist over here. General, new in-game store. We've added our first offering in the game store, allowing players to purchase exclusive skins, mounts, and eventually other cosmetics that cannot be unlocked through gameplay. The store provides a way to support the continued development of Fellowship, and it's important to us that what we offer is respectful of players' time and money. We are committed to ensuring that the content you unlock in-game is a reflection of the hard work you've put in to achieve it, and won't be made available to purchase in the store at any point in the future. Added Alzarak Overseer, Rhyme skin. Added Midday Majesty, Xavier skin. Added Midnight Conjunction, Aona skin. Added Vile Soul Raptor mount. General changes. Quick play has been removed. Fixed an issue where tutorial information for the dungeons was being shown in the Journey to Stronghold tutorial. Known issue. Our development cycle for the season has been right up to the wire. Our translation efforts have had to run catch up as a result, meaning some of the newest parts of the game will remain untranslated for the next few days as the final translations are returned to us. UI changes. New hero-specific input bindings added the option for players to make their ability inputs hero-specific. All heroes will use global bindings as default, but they can be overridden by unchecking use global ability keybinds within the Edit HUD main toolbox window as your chosen hero and assigning new bindings. This can be reverted by simply using global settings again. Chat. Updated / command functionality, so a space pressed after immediately goes over to that channel instead of having to press enter to get to the new one. Updated the layout of chat messages to read better. Added a visual cue when you can tab to cycle between channels, and updated the look of the notifications. Fixed an issue where modifier key presses Shift, Control, and Alt were triggering from both chat and triggering abilities, letting players accidentally trigger their abilities while typing. Game Finder. Fixed an issue where the party is stuck in queue if a player joins at the same time the queue starts. Fixed an issue where the ready check vote confirmation pop-up would not show up if it was started while the player was in a loading screen. Oh, very nice. Fixed an issue where multiple dungeons could be selected in the game finder. Okay. HUD. Added size options for the ability cast bar to edit HUD. Updated our fonts to correctly support traditional Chinese Han and Japanese characters. Updated the cosmetic screen, separating the helmet, back, shoulders, and weapons into submenus rather than a simple toggle. Players can now use the aesthetic of their current equipment in that slot, as well as hiding the slot entirely, allowing for a greater amount of customization. Heck yeah. Progression. All enemy advanced mechanics, Var's Legacy, have been moved from Adept to now activate from the Paragon Capstone dungeon and up through Eternal. The intention is to make the step into Eternal be a clear increase in challenge the game offers, as players will have gotten access to all their abilities, talents, weapons, and so on at that point. The time limit ascension, Asha's Regret, is now introduced at Champion Capstone, Heart of Tuzari. This means that in early leagues, you are no longer penalized for loot rewards for not making the timer. Since time limits are not introduced until higher leagues, this has affected how leagues unlock. Complete the Contender Capstone to unlock Adept. Complete the Adept Capstone to unlock Champion. Complete the Champion Capstone dungeon within the time limit to unlock Paragon. Complete the Paragon Capstone dungeon within the time limit to unlock Eternal. Curses added. Ira the White Witch and Gorn the Avalanche have been added to the pool from the Winter Hearthwarming event. Their exact values have been adjusted to better match the pace of leagues. Storm Shield and Anomalous Orbs have been added to the pool. Curses removed. Malevolent Shade and Carnage were removed from the pool. Anomalous Orbs. 3 Anomalous Orbs spawn near enemies periodically. The orbs are targetable and can be damaged. Once spawned, the orbs cast Detonate, an interruptible cast that deals heavy damage to all players if left unchecked. The anomalous orbs are susceptible to all forms of crowd control, which will also interrupt the cast of Detonate. Anomalous orbs take 400% increased damage while not actively casting Detonate. Each anomalous orb a player destroys grants 480 gem power to the corresponding color of the orb that was destroyed for 45 seconds. Okay. Wonder what that means if you're like overcapping and stuff. Interesting. Storm Shield. Periodically, players will charge up with red lightning for 8 seconds, after which a massive bolt strikes all players for lethal damage. For the 8 seconds that players are charged up, players are granted Storm Shield, reducing all damage taken by 50%. In addition, damage is split with other players near you. Players who survive the massive bolt are granted Storm's Fury for 20 seconds, granting 20% critical strike chance. Leagues. Players no longer are required to attain a specific item level to unlock and play in the next league. The only requirement is that you complete the previous league's capstone dungeon within the timeline limit, if in champion or higher. The dungeons for each league have been shuffled around as we've tried to prevent creating any obvious difficulty skill traps in early league rotations. The capstone dungeons have changed order. Contender Capstone is now Ransack of Drakheim. Adept Capstone is now Riptide Vault. Champion Capstone is now Heart of Tuzari. Paragon Capstone is now Sithral's Fall. Give me a second, I'm gonna drink some water. That's a lot of changes. We still have a lot to go through. Eternal. New Eternal Shards. Players now need 2 shards to progress to the next Eternal difficulty level. Timing each dungeon will unlock its shard, and timing a capstone dungeon will unlock 2 instead. Each dungeon can only reward the player once, so they will need to try different dungeons at each difficulty in order to unlock access to the next. Difficulty scaling. The difficulty scaling of the leagues has been adjusted. In general, the game is less punishing in the lower leagues and scales up faster in Eternal. We also wanted to tone down the amount of difficulties players were progressing through in Eternal. The old plus 85 Eternal difficulty is now equivalent to a plus 30 Eternal with this update. Items. Oh, there's a new tank relic. New relic, Obsidian Sigil. Only available for tank heroes. Grants 30% damage reduction to yourself for 9 seconds on a 60-second cooldown. The Sin-Binding Stone relic can no longer be found by tank heroes. Okay, interesting. Traits. Many traits have had their power adjusted. Defensive trait, Treasure Hunter's Delight. The trait has been removed from the game. Okay, so they got rid of Treasure Hunter's Delight, I guess, for the Obsidian Sigil. New defensive weapon trait, Ancestral Intervention. When you take damage that would kill you, your health is set to 1, and you are immune to damage for 5 seconds. This effect has a 480, 420, 360, 300 second cooldown. New defensive weapon trait, Against All Odds. When you take damage equal to 40% of your max health or more in a single hit, the damage is reduced by 25, 30, 35, 40%. Can only occur once every 15 seconds. Major trait, Sapphire Aura Stone. Sapphire Aura Stone functionality has been updated. It now is placed near your target when you activate your spirit ability and has a duration equal to the duration of your Spirit of Heroism buff. Major trait, Diamond Strike. Diamond Strike functionality has been updated and now gains an additional 35% increased damage for every stack of Harmonious Soul updated Diamond Gem bonus you have. Okay. Major trait, Emerald Judgment. Emerald Judgment functionality has been updated and now also triggers your currently activated rank of First Strike Emerald Gem bonus when it triggers. Okay. Cool. Heroic trait, Hunter's Focus. Now resets if the player uses a targeted offensive ability on another target as intended. So a little fix on that. Weapon abilities, Earthbreaker. Damage has been increased and the stun duration has been increased to 3 seconds. Was 1.5 seconds. Twilight Skybolt. Base damage and healing has been increased by 120%. Each stack now increases its power by 30%, down from 100%. The ability is no longer on the global cooldown. Icicles of Anzir. The base damage has been increased. The ability is no longer on global cooldown. Let's go. Nature's Fury now deals 100% more damage healing on the first hit. Oh, but it's still a cast. Oh, man. Fated Strike. Base damage reduced. Cooldown increased to 72 seconds. Was 70 seconds. No longer grants an expertise bonus. Alzarek Shackle. The ability is no longer on the global cooldown. Okay, so some quality of life with some of the weapons. That's great. Gems. New. Added legendary socketing. A new material, Divine Aether, will start dropping from Paragon Capstone in higher difficulty. Players can use Divine Aether to imbue their items a 35% gem socket at the crafter. This crafting recipe can only be used on items that either have a socket less than 35% or could have a socket attached. This means the item cannot be used on set bonus gear. Added Gem Budding. Players can now utilize ingots, ethers, and godstones of the same rarity to create a copy of a small gem. Monopod. One small gem is created in exchange for uncommon ingredients. Double Bloom. 2 small gems are created in exchange for rare ingredients. Threefold Propagation. 3 gems are created in exchange for epic ingredients. Wow. Okay, so this is going to make gearing up your alts a lot easier. That's great. Also your main. Gem bonus updates. Okay. Sapphire. Ancestral Surge now grants +10 or +30 to your maximum spirit points for your spirit ability. In addition to the 8% and 24% primary stat you gain while Spirit of Heroism is active. So that's blue 1 and blue 6, right? Yeah, blue 1 and blue 6. Okay. Essence of the Prophet now reduces the spirit point cost of your spirit ability by 5% and 15%, in addition to the +6 +18 second duration bonus to your Spirit of Heroism. So that's what, blue 5 and blue 10, right? Oh, the other one was blue 1, blue 6. So this is blue 5, blue 10. So complete Sapphire rework. Diamond. Harmonious Soul has been redesigned and now grants 0.3% and then 0.9% later of critical strike, haste, expertise, and spirit for 5 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. So it would give 3% or 9% of your secondaries. Upon expiration, only 1 stack is removed. So pretty good if you can keep chaining the whole dungeon. You get like constant stats. Wow. Stoic's Patience now grants 500 or 1500 armor and 25 or 75 primary stat. Was stamina and primary stat. Okay. Lots of primary stat on this. Ancient's Wisdom now grants 3%, 9% primary stat. Was 2%, 6%. Okay, cool. Amethyst. Sealed Fate now grants 5 and 15% critical strike chance on targets above 50% health instead of 10 and 30. Ruby. Champion's Heart now grants 140 and 420 stamina and 15 and 45 primary stat. This was red 2 and red 7, I believe. Titan's Blood now grants 4% and 12% max health, was 3% and 9%, so that's 4 and 8, I believe. 4 and 9. Essence of the Conqueror now grants 5 and 15% damage, healing, and absorb instead of 4 and 12. Okay. Rewards. Supplies now drop more reliably in league dungeons due to quick play changes. Dungeons drop 2 supplies 100% of the time. Capstone dungeons drop 4 supplies 100% of the time. The star map has had its leftmost path, Hero Unlocks, reworked. Player can unlock the Hero Unlocks path by doing either quest in the Woodland Glade or completing a dungeon. The ability to unlock mount access for Hero is now accomplished by either quest or dungeon runs across the account. A new amount, the Spirit of Akari, has been added to the star map as a reward for achieving 10,000 dungeon rating. Nice. Hero updates. All heroes. Jump while casting and cancel cast keybind. We have added so that pressing escape on your keyboard at any time causes your character to stop casting or channeling. We have also added a new keybind in the input menu for stop cast if you want to bind that functionality to another button as well. Previously, we decided to have jumping cause cast while moving cast to cancel because there was no other way to cancel out an ability cast once started in that context. With the above functionality, we can now allow jumping while cast while moving. Hooray for Alarians. Okay. Spirit stat mechanic update. The secondary stat Spirit no longer increases Spirit point generation by 1%, and now instead generates a flat amount of Spirit points each time you trigger a Spirit refund. The amount varies from hero to hero based on the power of their Spirit ability and the amount of access they have to Spirit refunds. Okay. Player and enemy health adjustments. The amount of health heroes gain from stamina has been increased with the intention to both make the game less punishing in the lower leagues and to change the primary focus of high eternal pushing. In high eternal pushing, this change hopefully creates less emphasis on one-shot mechanics, outright killing players in a single hit. At the same time, the health of enemies has been increased as the difficulty scales up, with the intention of making damage and healing throughput more important. The amount of health gained from stamina has been increased by 25% for all heroes except Helena, whose health has been increased by 20%. Okay. Helena's health was toned slightly down relative to other heroes due to substantial increases to her access to armor on items. Details can be found under the Helena part of these patch notes. Enemy health scaling increased as difficulty ramps up. Okay. Absorb crits. All absorbs now have a chance based on your critical strike chance to ignore 50% of any hit. The absorb crit chance is based on the source player of the absorb, not the target. Okay. Attack speed reduction. Attack speed reduction no longer stacks. The highest positive and negative modifiers are active only. Oh yeah, because it was possible to just stack like Spirited Vortex and Zero Shackle. Okay. Helena. Core mechanics and abilities. Helena's weapons now also have a substantial amount of armor stat on them. Known issue. This does not apply to her starter weapon or weapons purchased for supplies at the vendor in the stronghold. Okay. The enfeebling effect has been removed from sweeping strikes and no longer reduces the damage dealt by afflicted enemies by 10%. Why is Mako's Earth Fist Barrage in the Helena section? Okay, Mako's Earth Fist Barrage can now be channeled while jumping. Talents and legendaries. Razor Shrapnel has been removed. New talent for Helena, Unscarred Soul, 2 points. The absorb you generate from your empowered shield slams granted via Hold the Line or Sword and Board now grants 20% reduced damage taken and reflects 50% strength damage to attackers while active. Ooh, love some reflect. Okay. Martial Command, 3 points. No longer grants 5% spirit passively. Now causes each cast of shield throw to generate 2 spirit points towards your spirit ability. Okay. In addition to its shared toughness mitigation during Siegebreaker effect. Okay, cool. This is with the spirit changes, all right. New legendary, Linked Heavy Metal Cloak. Grants you 2 charges of Hold the Line and provides the ability with cooldown and acceleration equal to your haste. All right. I don't know what this all means for Helena, but I mean, I don't think anybody took Razor Shrapnel before, so it seems like they're just trying to make like this Hold the Line shield gameplay from Helena better. Mako, core mechanics. Spirit refunds now generate 1 stone for your stone shield baseline. The talent that had this effect has been replaced. More details in the talent section. The enfeebling effect has been removed from Spirited Vortex and no longer reduces the damage effect dealt by enemies by 10%. Talents and legendaries. Twin Souls, Army of One now lasts 20 seconds, was 10 seconds. Okay. The siblings of wind you conjure during Twin Souls Army of One now strike 40 times in that duration, was 20 times. Okay. Buffing Mako's ult, it looks like. The damage dealt by siblings of wind that you conjure during Twin Souls has been reduced by 50%. Ult is off the global. Nice. Unwavering Will, 1 point has been removed. Thundering Kicks, 2 points has been moved and is now a 1 point talent. Okay. New talent, Whipping Apex, 2 points. Each time your Lashing Storm kick consumes Stormfall, it generates 1 stack for your Serenity ability per target hit, up to a maximum of 5 stacks per cast. Okay, nice. Easy way to stack up that. Legendary, Boots of Everlasting Spirit. The damage of Everlasting Spirit has been reduced by approximately 22%. Okay. The legendary Necklace of Tectonic Impact no longer consumes 2 Earthfall charges. The legendary Shattering Obelisk Drape now deals reduced damage beyond 1 target, was 5 targets. Okay. So Dave will do less damage. I guess the neck lets you do double Earth Fist Barrage now. I don't think people didn't really play Boots for the damage. It was just kind of nice. Boots are really good for the damage reduction and heal, so okay. At least to my knowledge. Mara, core mechanics and abilities. All of Mara's abilities and poisons have had their damage increased by 20%. The exceptions are listed below. Queen's Fang damage increased by 32%. Hemorrhaging Strike initial damage increased by 56%. Hemorrhaging Strike bleed damage increased by 17%. The energy gained each time Hemorrhaging Strike deals damage has been increased to 5, was 4. Talents and legendaries. New talent, Sinner's Pride, 3 points. For each combo point you spend, the cooldown of your Maiden of Death ability is reduced by 0.6 seconds. So if you spend 6, you get it reduced by 3.6 seconds. Okay. The old legendary cloak effect was updated and moved to become Mara's new 3-pointer talent. It no longer reduces the cooldown of Final Stratagem, but instead provides the wearer comfortable access to her Maiden of Death ability. Feed the Queen now stacks up to 6 times, up from 5, and causes Queen's Fang to deal 10%, was 9% more damage per stack. From the Shadows is no longer a talent, it has been moved to a legendary item. New legendary, Assassin's Shadow Lined Cape, grants the From the Shadows effect from the 3-point talent of the same name. The power of all Mara's legendaries have been reduced by approximately 35%. This is to compensate for the increase to Mara's power in her core kit. Overall, the resulting changes in increase to Mara's power in the early game will keep her competitive in the late game. Okay. I don't know that much about Mara, so I can't comment. Tariq. Core mechanics and abilities. Heavy Strike is no longer a queued ability that triggers at the end of the swing timer. It is now an instant cast ability that is off the global cooldown that you need to use while the swing timer is in the red to get good damage out of. If Heavy Strike is used outside of the red, it deals 80% reduced damage and incurs a cooldown of 9 seconds on Heavy Strike. Heavy Strike damage has been reduced by 29%, but it now always deals 20% of its power and damage to enemies near your target. So nice cleave. Facebreaker no longer requires a Facebreaker proc to use. If Facebreaker is used with the Facebreaker proc active, it deals 400% damage. If Facebreaker is used without the proc, it incurs a cooldown of 9 seconds and resets the swing timer. Okay. Interesting. Facebreaker damage has increased by 78%. This reduction is to compensate for the new 400% damage increase when used with the proc. Skull Crusher damage has been increased by 10%. Intimidate duration has been increased to 12 seconds, was 10 seconds. Intimidate has a 50% higher damage threshold before it breaks enemies out of fear. Intimidate can now fear up to 20 enemies, was 8. Oh, I didn't know it was capped. Interesting. Talents and legendaries. Blood and Thunder now has a 10% chance to cause Heavy Strike to trigger a free cast of Chain Lightning on the target, was a 2.0 proc per minute. Okay, so interesting. High Road no longer grants a movement speed increase after using Leap Smash. Bloodline now passively grants 20% movement speed, and its passive Fury generation has been increased to 2 Fury per second instead of 1 fury per second, which is what it was before. Okay, Bloodline seems good. Then Bones is now a 1-point talent. I don't know what that does, sorry. Ride the Lightning is now a 2-point talent, and it now passively provides 5% haste at all times. Nice, okay. Square Hammer has been updated. The damage bonus to Heavy Strike remains, but has been reduced to a 5% damage bonus to your next Heavy Strike per stack up to 5 stacks. While Thunder Call is active, each time you consume Square Hammer stacks, you gain an equal amount of charged up stacks up to a maximum of 12 stacks. The next time you cast Chain Lightning with at least 5 stacks of charged up, it consumes 5 stacks, causing your Chain Lightning to deal 175% more damage. While Thunder Call is not active, each time you consume Square Hammer stacks, the cooldown of your Thunder Call is reduced by 0.3 seconds per stack consumed. So it seems like Square Hammer is nice for some like Heavy Strike Chain Lightning play. I don't know anything about Tariq, but it sounds interesting. The legendary Bloodied Brass Pendant now causes 350% of Facebreaker critical and strike damage to be applied to the target over 24 seconds. So I got nerfed. Okay. I don't know if anybody was playing that legendary, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure everybody was playing Cape. The legendary Drape of the Slayer King now increases the damage enemies take from you by 15%, was 20% for 3 seconds, was 5 seconds after taking damage from your Leap Smash. So is that like only 1 spell or 2 spells? While we are excited to return to Rhyme and make some bigger updates to your kit, we did not have time to get to every hero this update. There are many updates to other systems in the game that will interact with Rhyme's kit in new, interesting ways. Be assured that next round we will take the time to look over Rhyme again. Traits and legendaries. Navir's Keeper now grants 2 stacks in Navir's Keeper, allowing you to cast Cold Snap regardless of the status of its cooldown, consuming 1 stack in Navir's Keeper instead of a charge of Cold Snap. Interesting. Alyan. With Alyan, we have adjusted his kit and his talents and legendaries to provide him with some fresh build variations. One major change to his core kit is to Lunar Light Salvo and how it interacts with Heartseeker Barrage, allowing Heartseeker Barrage to do respectable multi-target damage by consuming Lunar Light marks with its damage. As a result, we have made some adjustments across the board to Alyan to keep his balancing in check with new changes. More details below. Core mechanics and abilities. All Alyan's ability damage was reduced by 3%. The exceptions are listed below. Alyan's Spirit Refunds now apply 5 stacks of Lunar Light mark on your target and up to 2 stacks on up to 2 additional enemies near them. Whoa, okay. That's a lot of marks, alright. Whenever damage dealt by Heartseeker Barrage triggers a Lunar Light Salvo on an enemy, it has a 20% chance to erupt, dealing 100% of Lunar Light Salvo damage to up to 12 enemies in a radius around it. Okay. Multi-shot damage reduced by 12.7%. High Wind Arrow damage has been reduced by 4%. Starfall Volley now has reduced damage beyond 10 targets. Okay, so this just got nerfed because I think it was buffed and then nerfed twice now. Celestial Impetus now causes your next Celestial shot to have no focus shot in addition to its existing effects. Okay. This Lunar Light thing opening up some very interesting builds, I'm sure. Talents and legendaries. Lethal shots now have a 40% chance plus 30% to cause your High Wind Arrow to have 100% critical strike chance. Lunar Fury is now a 2-point talent. In addition to increasing the damage of your Lunar Light salvos by 30%, it also doubles the chance for Heartseeker Barrage damage to trigger Lunar Light salvo on targets with Lunar Light mark. Okay. Lunar Last Lights now increases your critical strike chance by 20%, was 30% when dealing damage to targets at or below 30% health. Lunar Light Affinity, 2-point talents is now a 2 points, is now a 1-point talent. Okay, so Lunar Light Affinity and Lunar Fury switch spots. Fusillade is 2 points, is now a 1-point talent. Okay, the Extended Barrage. Piercing Seekers is now a 2-point talent. I'm sure that's to help with this like triggering of the Lunar Light marks on Barrage. Fervent Supremacy damage bonus to Empowered Multishot was reduced to 25% instead of 50%. Okay. Resurgent Winds now causes Lunar Light mark to grant you 1 charge of High Wind Arrow in addition to its existing effects. Change from previously granting a buff that caused your next High Wind Arrow to ignore its cooldown and cost. Resurgent Winds now causes Lunar Light mark to grant you 1 charge of High Wind Arrow in addition to its existing effects. So I don't get an instant arrow, I don't get an instant arrow, but I get an extra charge in the damage. Okay. All right. The legendary Chain of Star Striker's Ascent has been redesigned. It now causes your spirit refunds to have a 50% chance to reset the cooldown of your Heartseeker barrage and grant you impending Heartseeker. Okay. So, what are my thoughts on this? Spirit refunds to reset the cooldown. So impending Heartseeker is still in, and spirit refund. So they just want you to like barrage all the time. They grant you impending Heartseeker. Okay. So where's the? And then Highway Arrow just kind of like got nothing, or it only got nerfs. Okay. All right. I'm interested to see. I'll have to think about this some more about what we're gonna do. Ardeos, core mechanics and abilities. All of Ardeos ability damage has been reduced by approximately 5%. The exceptions are listed below. Detonate now deals an average of the next 2.5 was 2 seconds of Ardeos' fire damage over time effects on the target. Fireball's direct damage was increased by 105%, but it now only applies 20%, with 70% of the direct damage as damage over time. Okay, so it's more about like doing direct damage with the fireball, which I get like with some of the new legendaries he's got coming. Fireball damage over time now has a 50% chance to generate 2 cinders, was 100%. Incinerate direct damage while channeling was reduced by 43%, so they nerfed the ult. Multiple engulfing flames can now be applied to targets as their own parallel debuffs, each with their own durations and dealing their damage individually to the target. Okay, so it doesn't stack, but they have individuals. Okay. Talents and legendaries. Flickering Cinders has been removed. Ouroboros has been removed. Flare Up, 1 point, now deals 50% of Infernal Waves damage to all enemies with Searing Blaze. Frog Squad, 2 points. In addition to its previous effect, now also increases the damage of all fire frogs by 10%. Okay. New talent Backdraft causes your detonate cast to extend the duration of all your active Searing Blaze effects by 1.5 seconds up to their maximum duration. New talent Crash and Burn causes your Searing Blaze damage to reduce the cooldown of Fireball by 1 second. 0.1 second, sorry. Agonizing Blaze now increases damage dealt by Searing Blaze by 4% per stack, was 3% up to a maximum of 40%, was 30% at 10 stacks. Undying Flame, 2 points, is now a 2-point talent. Now grants you 2 charges of Engulfing Flame in addition to its previous effect of increasing Engulfing Flame duration by 3 seconds. Okay. Interesting. Rolling Flames now also reduces the cooldown of Engulfing Flames by 1 second each time you cast Infernal Wave. Rolling Flames cooldown is now reduced by 0.25 seconds each time Searing Blaze deals damage to was 0.4 seconds. Okay. Rain of Fire, 3 points, now has a 1.5 procs per minute, was 1.0. New legendary Exquisite Flaming Toad Cloak causes your fire frog's ability to also summon a giant fire toad that leaps to your enemies and explodes for 800% of normal fire frog damage onto it and nearby enemies. Any fire frog you conjure also has a 15% chance to turn into a fire toad. New legendary Draconic Boots of the Devouring Flame causes your Engulfing Flames to also increase all your damage to the target by 6% per active application. New legendary Boontastic Explosive Choker causes your Fireball cast to reduce the cooldown of Apocalypse by 8 seconds and increase the damage of Apocalypse by 150% based on their high health. Higher health enemies take more damage. I kind of talked to this with some other Ardeos players. It's very interesting to see. I mean, it seems like the Fireball build is getting a pretty nice buff. And it seems like there's some stuff with Searing Blaze that's going to buff that too. So looks like it opened up some build paths for Ardeos, because I think out of all the characters, I'm pretty sure Ardeos had like the least amount of variability. Maybe Mara too. Vigor, core mechanics and abilities. Vigor's absorbs from Luminous Barrier and Meticulous Runesmith now take 10% reduced damage. This value scales as Vigor gains intellect. Luminous Barrier absorb value was increased by 37%. Luminous Barrier now has a 10-second cooldown. Luminous Barrier duration was increased to 12 seconds, was 10 seconds. 10-second CD, 12-second duration. Circle of Light healing was increased by 30%. Circle of Light mana cost was increased by 15.6%. Greater Heal healing was increased by 79%. Greater Heal mana cost was increased by 16%. Dawnbreaker Orb healing was increased by 12%. Dawnbreaker Orb regeneration was reduced to 5%, was 10% per hit ally or enemy. Dawnbreaker Orb now has dynamic damage and healing based on the maximum health of the target. The larger their maximum health of a target, the stronger the damage or healing. Levitate's duration was reduced to 4 seconds, was 6 seconds. Levitate's movement speed bonus was increased to 70%, was 40%. Avatar of Faith's initial heal increased by 132%. I don't... seems like Orb is getting pushed and Barrier is getting pushed, so they're trying to make you use those buttons. I don't know if this... I don't know how good or bad this is, but interesting that these changes are kind of like attacking that. Shimmering Brand, 2 points has been removed. Enduring Light, 2 points has been removed. New talent, Ceremony of Light, causes your Circle of Light to place a persistent circle on the ground that lasts for 5 seconds, reducing all damage taken by allies within it by 5%. Once the circle disappears, it triggers a second Circle of Light in that area with 50% of the power. So Enduring Light was removed for the old Cape Legendary to be on a talent. Sacred Barrier has been redesigned. It now grants you 2 charges of Luminous Barrier and provides cooldown recovery for the ability equal to your haste. That's probably in line with the Luminous Barrier changes they made, I guess. Master of Triage was reduced to 20%, was 30% of the greater heal being cast when generating a Radiant rune. Master of Triage can no longer trigger Rune of Renewal healing. New talent, Preserved Illumination, causes Vigor's absorbs to be refilled by amount equal to 100% of damage dealt by Dawn Flare and 40% of damage dealt by Radiant Blast. Okay, but how many points is this? It's a 2-pointer, I guess, because Ceremony of Light. Okay, yeah. 2 things were removed. Okay. New legendary Dawnbreaker's Cloak of Reverence causes Dawnbreaker Orb to stop when it reaches its destination and then return to where you first cast it, healing and damaging enemies a second time on the way back. Okay, so just like Vigor Orbs are gonna be better and Absorbs are gonna be better, and this Preserved Illumination makes it sound like Absorbs might actually be a thing for Vigor. I can't tell. I feel like I don't really see it used unless there's like a one-shot, but if one-shots are going away, maybe it's just part of like him being able to do damage while healing too. I'm really not sure. Sylvie, core mechanics and abilities. Sylvie now has a passive aura, Natural Selection, which increases all party members' maximum health by 20% while in it. Many issues causing enfeebling root sap to apply its enfeebling effect on enemies in unexpected ways, sometimes increasing the power ability, sometimes making it weaker, have been addressed. Heartbloom now pulses healing every 2 seconds, was 3 seconds, over 16 seconds, was 15 seconds. Okay. A little buff to the Heartbloom. Heartbloom healing accumulation factor reduced to 7.5%. Okay. But I'm pretty sure, at least from what I remember, everything was more about like how often Heartbloom was able to heal you. So talents and legendaries. Flutter Swift duration is now tracked on your ability button. This can only track one duration, so it shows the duration of the latest application of Flutter Swift. Flower Power healing accumulation factor reduced to 5%. Natural Protector absorbs have been reduced in size by 20%. Natural Protector absorbs now have 20% damage reduction. Oh, okay. So the shield's smaller, but you also get damage reduction. New legendary, the Mad Gardener's Shawl. Passively increases the healing of your Fluttercall heal by 50% and causes your Heartbloom to no longer accumulate Flutterfly healing. Instead, it accumulates the damage you deal with Nettlebolt, Prickly Vine, and Boomshrooms and turns that into healing. Boomshroom accumulation is reduced to 50% of the normal value. Okay. There's a typo here, but I wonder if it's a typo. Dungeons. The following is an incomplete list of some of the more important updates to Fungeons. Curses and Dungeons. Fix an issue causing some curses to not trigger in specific boss encountered. Encounters Malgut in Everdawn Grove, Vexira in Silken Hollow, Vayrith in Godfall Quarry. So 50 curses. So Meteor Rain and Binding Ice will now show up in these on these boss fights. Yeah, I remember them not kind of showing up. Although I didn't think Meteor Rain was ever in Silken Hollow. Now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. Sithral's Fall. Oh, more dungeon tuning. Okay. Sithral's Fall. All Sithral's ability damage has been reduced by 10%. Sithral's Shrinking Arena now shrinks by 10%. Per Path of Oblivion cast was 15%. The Heart of Tuzari. Increased kill score required for Heart of Tuzari by 20%. Fixed an issue where patrols would occasionally... Oh, sorry. Silken Hollow. Fixed an issue where patrols would occasionally snap to the player once the party dies. Fixed an issue in Silken Hollow where killing the egg bearer would cause it to explode. Fixed an issue in Silken Hollow where the Venom Spray graphics was not removed once the boss was defeated. Fixed an issue in Silken Hollow where the Grave Snare Kidnapper's Razor Lace Web spawned in the air. Oh, okay. Sailor's Abyss changes. Updated enemy placement and pack compositions on the right path. Okay, so right path could be a thing. Fixed an issue in Sailor's Abyss where the mass tether graphics sometimes went to the world origin. Okay. Fixed an issue in Sailor's Abyss where the Siren incorrectly selected secondary targets when casting Bubble. Interesting. Wait, Bubble? Not Undertow? I'm not sure. What is Bubble? Ransack of Drakheim. Fixed an issue in Ransack of Drakheim where running civilians would rubber band if the player moved the camera too quickly. Oh, that's funny. I don't know about that. Fixed an issue in Ransack of Drakheim where the Ice Tomb effect persisted upon respawn if the player died while being frozen in the tomb. Oh, that sounds miserable. Fixed an issue in Ransack of Drakheim. Drakheim. Is it Drakheim or Drakheim? Because it says Drakheim here and Drakheim here. Where invalid ability data was being shown during the troll fight. Fixed an issue in Ransack where the Icebite Reaver's Slam Ground indicators do not disappear when interrupted mid-cast. Fixed an issue in Ransack where Silence and Blinding Fear debuffs were not getting removed when the targeted player died. Ooh. Wraithtide changes. Okay. Wraithtide Vault. Great Spawn Sentinels debuff now stacks up to 10 times. Fixed an issue on Wraithtide Vault where the Orb of Baal Orum would get stuck inside the boss. Fixed an issue on Wraithtide Vault where Fixed an issue on Vault where a second orb would spawn when one was already out. Okay. Fixed an exploit in Vault where players could walk under cannons to avoid Severed Soul. Fixed an issue on Wraithtide Vault where the ghostly grass persists after detonating. Godfall Quarry updated enemy placement and pack compositions. And fixed an issue in Godfall Quarry where the Taskmaster's sweeping hook did not interrupt the player's caster channels. Okay. Empyrean Sands. Greed Spawn Sentinels debuff now stacks up to 10 times. Fixed an issue in Empyrean Sands where Lunar Soul Seer did not target the player correctly. Fixed an issue in Empyrean Sands where the Dune Snare trap persists after the hunter is killed. Oh, so the traps are going to go away. Okay. Stormwatch. Fixed an issue in Stormwatch where Face Stabber would not detach when the dungeon is completed. I remember seeing this. Here at the end, more features on the way. There's so much that we are aiming to include in this update cycle, but won't be landing on day 1 of Early Access Season 2, including, but not limited to, Account Flare, titles, banners, and more ways to express yourself in your in-game achievements. Communities. Find your people by creating or joining your own meeting place. If you like to push, looking for tips on tanking, or just need to find cool people in your time zone to help farm, communities will be the place to do it. Leaver penalties. We're putting the finishing touches on our first iteration of a timeout feature for those who abandon others that want to keep playing. We know that this can't exist in a vacuum, and voting to leave or voting to restart a dungeon will need to be part of the whole picture. We'll provide more information when we have details to share. Bad luck protection. We've implemented several ways to craft the items that aren't dropping for the most unlucky in the community, but we're looking further at improving our drop logic as well. Unfortunately, changing this low-level math means that there are far too many potential knock-on issues, and we want to work through that overhaul properly. It's coming, but it is unfortunately taking longer than we'd have hoped. We hope you'll enjoy the update as well as everything else we have planned. That was a long one. Oh my gosh, 44 minutes. Okay, guys, I hope you're excited. I'm excited. Lots of things coming, and I'm very interested to see. I mean, 2 things that are kind of like sticking out the most to me right now is just the internal shards thing. needing 2 shards to progress, and then the Alyan changes. So I'll have to think about the Alyan changes. But also just tons of other stuff happening, right? Traits, weapons, the gem stuff, spirit changing. There's a lot. So I'm excited to see what it's going to do for like just changing up how we play the game. But anyways, guys, you know, you can find me on Twitch, streaming every day. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to get back to you, or you can join me in Discord, and I'll see you there. But everybody, hope to see you season 2, and let's get to it.